Well, hello and welcome to the Shallow Proclamation. My name's Paul, and for the last time in season 10, I'm joined by
Thomas. I thought you were about to say something quite ominous there. For the last time ever. What are you going to do to me, Paul?
Get him. Go. No, no, we're on the last episode of season 10, Green Death episode 6. Yeah, we feel this is quite an achievement to get to the end of season 10.
Yeah.
You'll see it glow. Watch.
Oh, I remember this. His expression is quite funny.
It is quite good. Do you know, it's been 20 years since the new series, New Who, started.
Yeah, that is a weird thought, isn't it? I saw something about that the other day.
My dad sent me a link to like a 3-hour special on YouTube about it.
20 years.
Maybe we have to react to it.
Yeah. What, you mean the modern era?
Yeah.
We'll get to that, won't we?
No, I mean the documentary.
Oh, right. Oh, are we going to see some flies? I kind of want to see some flies.
That's what you wanted, wasn't it? At the end of the last episode.
Yeah. Just because I think it'd be cool to see. I mean, obviously terrible for the characters if they become flies, but it'd be cool to see a couple.
Oh, I think that might be
so
green
funny
screen.
because look, those are real maggots in the background there, aren't
Yeah.
they? Obviously not these ones, but yeah, that CSO shot. That was quite cleverly done, though.
It's bold. It's a bold move.
I think what's challenging about it is because it's such shallow depth of field.
Yeah.
You can tell it looks miniature.
Perspective is all off.
I still can't quite work out how they've done. So, like that shot, that's presumably someone's just got an arm in it. But like these ones, like is someone sticking an arm up through from underground, or is it remote controlled? I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, don't want to lick him, Brigadier. That's the last thing I want to do.
Oh yes.
Hey.
Did you remember that was coming, Paul?
I did. See, we're generally quite forgiving of bad special effects in old Doctor Who because, you know, you think this was the era it was and you often think they had a good attempt. Yeah. I feel that CSO with the, like you say, shallow depth of field may have slightly gone too far. Like they've attempted to go do a bit too much there.
Yeah. But the ambition was commendable.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice, Yates.
Yates in Space Station.
That was slightly hammy, wasn't it? But I kind of loved it.
It was giving me Colin vibes.
Yes.
Look at that model!
Beautiful. I'm going to act now. Wait, the Doctor rebuked him for saying, "Come and get your din-dins."
Kitty, yeah. That. It's funny that this story... Oh...
Oh, they're kind of dragonfly-esque.
Yeah. But lots of people who aren't big Doctor Who fans often talk about, oh, there was the one with the giant maggots.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of lodged itself in people's minds.
Yeah, in people's psyche from the time, and maybe later repeats as well, I don't know. But it's funny that, yeah, people know it as that story. Oh, the one with the giant maggots.
Well, it's a hard one to wriggle out of, isn't it?
Really relying heavily on the old CSO in this episode.
Oh wow, it's like the crop duster scene from North by Northwest. You've got a sense of scale. Oh, nice. He did a Doctor Strange cloak on him.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's the strongest thing.
Right. What a beautiful creature.
I think maybe just the heavy use of CSO in this first few minutes of the episode hasn't done it many favours.
Yeah.
Mike Yates.
Whoa.
It's like Bruce Willis in Die Hard. It's just...
You say he was delirious?
For a while, yes, but...
I still love the green on the skin. Looks brilliant.
Can you remember
Yeah.
what he said?
Did she just say you fell into a coma?
It's just not.
Might have been the accent. Chicken or lamb?
Yeah.
You were with him in the lab. Did he seem on the track of a cure?
He is effectively now a chapati.
Doctor Who and the Attack of the Chapatis.
A chap. Atty.
Chapati with the wings there. 5 rounds rapid.
The Indian Doctor Who. Oh man, sorry, that's a bit risque, that joke, isn't it?
There is an Indian Harry Potter.
It's a,
Yeah, there's like a whole series. It's a complete rip-off, like Bollywood films.
I love Bollywood so much. Like, have you seen any Bollywood films?
I've just seen bits of them.
Yeah,
never
there are
seen a
some
whole one.
great ones. But I saw this one. I think it was called Padmavati, which was like a historic epic. It had incredible battle scenes in it. It was like 3 hours long. But then, because it had musical numbers, like just a couple of musical numbers, just interspersed, and it's just great because there's no warning for it whatsoever, and suddenly the characters just start singing. But I love it so much.
Activate the total processing of the slave elite.
Execute Order 66.
I like the fact that the computer like hums little tunes.
Yeah, it makes it more creepy in a way, doesn't it? That human touch.
Oh, needs to break wind.
He's massively constipated.
I'm gonna try some Laxido or something. That's what you need. Calling Dr. Jones. Dr. Jones, Dr. Jones, get up now.
Now,
Only 6 minutes left.
there is a romance between a companion and someone from this story, and it is the final story of the season, so I don't know, but I don't want it to happen, but I'm just putting it out there. Maybe this is Joe's last episode.
Okay.
Gonna settle down. I don't know. It's unlikely, but it's been known to happen before, hasn't it?
Well, she's
Vicky,
She's also
Susan.
been in. That's true. She's been in hot demand, hasn't she? With,
That's true.
as we said, I think in a previous episode, Peladon and Lartep and.
So maybe it's the boy who
fella.
cried wolf, isn't it? It's just gonna
Yeah.
sneak up.
Men walking around like brainless vegetables.
It's a bit like, you know, when you're trying to remember if you left the oven on.
Yeah.
It's that kind of look on his face, just like.
Yeah.
Way, I suppose. Look deep into the blue light. Look at it. Look at it.
Another. There's a lot of good constipated acting going on in this
Yeah.
episode.
I'm so intrigued by what this guy's face is gonna. Yeah, I feel like they're trying to do too much with the performances here with the blue light. Like, I don't think you need to do that much with your face.
Think of our great plan, our dream. I'm sorry. I shall speak.
That's it. Fight it.
I'm going to act now.
It's all the more amusing because I'm now just imagining that everything he's saying is related to him going to the toilet. The disease, the death. Isn't there another answer?
There must be another way. Oh wow, that went really blue there, didn't it?
Get out. Quickly. Come with me.
Come with me. In 2 minutes, the whole place will go. Now, just everything in the episode is going to be viewed through that lens, isn't it? Reverse.
Oh dear. Oh dear me.
Loss of control.
It stings.
Oh, we're so mature, aren't we?
I know.
It's that corner from earlier. This is the most fun I've had in a Doctor Who episode for a while, I think. Not to say the others haven't been fun, this has been an exceptional episode.
This guy's still not managed to go.
Yeah. It's gonna blow.
Come on, come on.
Oh, wow. Model shot.
Like a good model shot. We like a model shot.
That's good, actually, isn't it? That's very good.
It is. Fair play. They always do good model shots. 99% of them are pretty decent.
That must have been quite a large model because the flame looked like a large flame, if that makes sense.
Right.
Not just a
Yeah.
little candle.
Yeah. No, I get what you mean.
Stop off in Cardiff, pick up our supplies, get married.
Married?
Aye.
Look, will you excuse me?
There seems to have been a misunderstanding.
You didn't say anything about getting married.
Didn't I? I'm sorry, love. You will, of course.
Yes, of course I will.
Oh, right. Oh, well.
God, life's good, isn't it?
Oh, go on, tell him.
Cliff and I are going to get married.
Getting married? Well, that's marvellous. Oh, congratulations, Professor Jones.
Thank you.
Professor Jones. Nice to hear. I'm sure you'll make you very happy.
Well, Professor Jones,
Thank you, Brigadier.
I've got a wedding present for you. It's a telex from Geneva, granting your place here official status as the United Nations Priority 1 Research Complex.
Oh, well done. Do you know what that means? It means unlimited financial help. Work for the valleys. Aye, and food. Food for all the world.
In my mic, let's have a drink.
You got on to your uncle at United Nations, didn't you?
It's only the second time I've ever asked him for anything.
Look where the first time got you.
You don't mind, do you?
Might even be able to turn you into a scientist.
I'm too far away, will you? And if you do, come back and see us sometimes.
Save me a piece of wedding cake.
Right.
Oh, I nearly forgot. Your wedding present.
Ah,
Beautiful.
that's why she has it in Tales of the TARDIS.
Hey, Joe. Come and drink a toast to the happy couple, huh?
But that's us.
Aye, so it is. Don't worry, Doctor. I look after you.
Are you ready? You're all ready. There we are. Do you like a drink? Well now. Quiet, everyone. Quiet a moment. Now, well, let's do both.
Yeah, here's to both. For he's a jolly good fellow, for they are jolly good fellows, for they are jolly good fellows, and so say all of us.
Woo.
There we go. So you called it.
I called it. Whoa. Big stuff. Yeah, that's man. I got a massive whiplash there because we were laughing our heads off at the toilet humour, and then we had a very emotional, beautifully observed ending there. It's interesting that it sort of feels like all the groundwork for the modern era is laid there, doesn't it? In terms of a companion departure, because previously it has been a little bit emotional, but it's often been quite brief. And I guess this was brief in terms of screen time, but the sense of the Doctor beginning to realise, oh, okay, Joe's formed an attachment with this guy, and he takes himself away to another room as they're talking, partly because it's a bit awkward, but partly because there's a sense maybe that he knows what's coming. And then he does that little toast with it by himself, and she's gone off with the others, and then he just sort of slinks off, and you can he's happy for her, but you can also see that kind of melancholy on his face because he's now alone again. And that's what the modern era now does every time, isn't it? Pretty much, a companion leaves.
Yeah.
And I don't think we've had it before to that extent in the classic era. So that was beautiful to see, and just very well acted, very, very nicely done. What would you say?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I mean, we've had some nicely done exits, haven't we, with a few of the companions sort of disappearing off. They've been done really nicely. We've had some disastrous ones in the case of Dodo and Liz not even getting a exit. And so, yeah, this is handled really, really nicely. And I think, like you say, it feels very much like the modern era, doesn't it? The emotion of it, and like it's not just sort of it's not just functionary in the sense of like, oh, we just need to get rid of this character, so they're going to go and do something, and off they go, bye bye, thank you. There is real sort of emotion underneath it, that the character development is character driven, isn't there? And you've seen how they've grown very close. I mean, it's sort of been touted a little bit, hadn't it, in one of the previous stories? Was it the sense of Joe wanting to go home, and that kind of thing? So there's a little bit of groundwork laid, but I think you're absolutely right. The thing that makes it so good is that sort of the moments with the Doctor, kind of, obviously, with the two of them saying we're getting married, and him, like you say, excusing himself to the other room. I think I'm needed for a phone call. Obviously not wanting to really confront what's going on, and then sort of having his own sort of little moment whilst everyone else is having celebration, having his drink, and then sort of slinking away. And you're getting that sort of lone figure walking out to the car, and that lovely last shot of the car just driving away. And a few of those lovely close-ups on him as well, just sort of that, like you say, it's that melancholy of, he is happy, but he's also lost something in the process. It's I think what him and, again, I mean, I think we said this a little bit about sort of Hartnell and Vicky. You get that sort of like family vibe with them. So with Joe, she's almost like more like a daughter in some ways.
Yes,
and it's almost like he's almost like he's giving her away, and like whilst he's happy, it's at the end of a season in his own life. Letting his obviously she's not a daughter, but like letting your child go.
Yes, because there was nothing there was nothing romantic between Joe and the Doctor. It was very much a deep friendship, wasn't it? And more a kind of father-daughter thing maybe, and so that emotion hits in a different way maybe. And so I think it's really well done. And I think the classic era, I mean, actually so far I've been relatively surprised in this early seasons of the show. They have handled things pretty well for a lot of the departures. I think it probably gets worse as we go on, and it becomes a bit more kind of like, so-and-so's going, bye. Like, that's
and
interesting.
There's not much to it, it becomes just they have, literally we're writing the character out.
Yeah,
And
because on reflection, actually, Susan's departure kind of is a very beautiful moment, isn't it? But I guess the Doctor still has Ian and Barbara at that point, doesn't he? And
I think when
that sense of him being left alone.
And
when
Vicky,
Ian and Barbara go, that's pretty hard. But he's kind of angry at that point. I don't know.
Yeah, he's a bit miffed. And there is that scene, isn't there? I can't remember which story it is now, when he's like, they've gone. They've all gone, like Hartnell's Doctor sitting in the chair. You get that. But then also sort of you have, I think Vicky got a decent Victoria got a decent send-off when she went to live with that family. And I know it was animated because we watched it. I think it was Fury from the Deep, wasn't it? Didn't she go and stay with a family? She went to live with them, and the final scenes were they, like the Doctor and Jamie and her stayed for dinner, didn't they? Like in the evening, and then the next day the TARDIS went off and she watched it go or something. And it was actually given quite a bit of time in the story.
And Jamie and Zoe, that was a good send off. They get sent back to their places.
Yeah, it's sort of, that's the kind of bittersweet ending, isn't it? That's almost Donna Noble-esque, isn't it? Like, they go back to where they came from and their memories are wiped and they only remember their first meeting with the Doctor. Or, obviously Donna doesn't remember at all, but...
Yeah, so in a way, yeah, it kind of has done the emotional companion departure before in the show. I guess what struck me about this was it just felt like the beats of it felt very modern. I don't know why.
No, I agree.
I think you're right. I think it's the shots on Pertwee's face and that kind of mixture of happiness and sadness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's not like anything terrible has happened to Jo. So it's a wonderful thing that's happened actually. So it's a great way to see her character leave. Thankfully she hasn't died or had some terrible thing happen on one of the travels. But it's still hard for the Doctor. Yeah.
I was a little bit. I kicked myself a little bit because we reacted, you and I, to that Tales of the TARDIS.
Right.
Because it was the 3 Doctors, wasn't it? And I said, "Oh, I think we can watch this now." And there won't be any spoilers, but she mentions Cliff in that.
Yes, and at the time I was like, who's Cliff?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I kind of thought, oh crap, like I didn't realise she was going to mention that. But of course, I think the reason he gets a mention in that, so we'll watch a couple of I said to you, we'll do the reactions to the Blu-ray trailers for some of the seasons with Jo in, because they've actually got Cliff in, like if they're still together, like in later life. But the actor who played him only passed away, I think, in 2024.
Wow.
So I think, or maybe it was 2023. It's very, very recent anyway. And so when she references that he's passed away, I think Clyde says, I heard about Cliff. They're referencing real life, that actually he's passed away in reality. And because I think I said at the time that at the time this was shot, they were a genuine couple. I think they might have even been engaged. I don't know if they did get married in real life as well. But whatever happens in the sort of canon of the show, they sort of kind of went on together as a couple. So, but yeah, so I think as well what it feels again, and the series maybe has got better at this over time, but it has felt like we've had a few series now, a couple of seasons where it's felt like a proper ending to a season, hasn't it? I think where we had the season with the Master, where the demons were at the end, he's arrested and stuff like that after the whole season of that. It's a nice kind of culmination. And I think here, this feels like a sort of weighty ending to the season. It's not just kind of the end of another story and then, you could just swap it out with anything. It has a little nice moment in it. So that's quite nice to see.
And as you said, it was kind of set up with the little lines like, I'd like to go home. And the Doctor's like, home it is, Miss Grant. I can't remember which story it was, but you get a sense that, she's not just asking to be taken home for a little break. It's like, ultimately, she does want to settle on Earth. And,
it's been, because when I think of Pertwee's Doctor, I think of Pertwee and Jo really on the whole, because I mean she's such a mainstay of his tenure, because we've had 4 seasons of Pertwee and 3 of them have had Jo in. And obviously for you, I mean, were you wondering whether we might be seeing a regeneration at the end of the?
I wasn't sure. I was like, either regeneration or companion departure, I was thinking was possible. Both would be highly unlikely. Although, of course, that's what we got at the end of Troughton's time, wasn't it? He loses his companions and Andy
That's true.
Gets a new face.
No, at the beginning of next season, they just bring Tom Baker in. There's no regeneration.
It
just happens. Yeah.
Yeah, they're actually meant to be the same Doctor. You're just not meant to notice. But yeah, and as for the story as a whole, I mean, I think it was strong. I think it kind of had a slight brassed off feel to it.
Oh yeah.
Well, the mines and stuff, but obviously a different part of the UK. But the kind of social justice thing going on, kind of, I guess, lots of political concerns sort of being raised there, but not in a way that, it didn't feel too preachy. It felt, that was the context, and the Doctor kind of lands in this, and there is a very legitimate pressing issue underground, which he's able to help out with. I'm glad we were able to see the flies in the end.
Yeah, the sort of dragonfly thing. Yeah, I think people often point to the Green Death. When people sort of in the last few years, when people have bemoaned particularly the Chibnall era and the sort of preachiness of it, people will often point to this story and be like, oh, the classic era did it as well. I think it would be fair to say that this is probably the most overtly on the nose of the classic era thing. I mean, there have been other stories, and there will be other stories, I think, which reference things that maybe some things would pass us by because they were happening at the time and not things necessarily we would pick up on. But I think even in a story like this, where it's clearly got an environmental message, it's nowhere near as kind of, like you say, it's not preachy, but it's there as a commentary on it in the context of a story as well. It doesn't feel. I think, it doesn't feel like the story is just there to back up a message that someone's trying to give you. There's a message within the story which is good, but I think it works.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because have you seen Adolescence, the series everyone's talking about? Yeah, I found that really interesting because I was expecting going into it that would be very preachy, given how much conversation there's been online. People are like, oh, it's just a kind of, anti-manosphere or kind of thing. But to me, it wasn't a preachy at all. It was kind of grappling with the issues, but not really arriving at any answers, and just kind of going, hey, there's a problem here.
No, I agree with that. It doesn't really land to give you a solution or point the finger at one particular person, does it? Like, it's...
Yeah, and I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's like, a Doctor Who story, or almost any story on TV, it can comment on all sorts of issues, and that can be a very good thing, actually. I think what we found frustrating about the Chibnall era was the heavy-handedness with which it seemed to weigh in on these things. It kind of takes you out of the story, doesn't it, when it starts to feel like it's trying to drive a message down your throat. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think, often stuff like, I mean, and this applies not just Doctor Who, but anything, but often stuff like that works best when, as you say, it doesn't necessarily land on one side. Sometimes it just opens a discussion, and you can see from a story that there are pros and cons to both sides of whatever the issue might be, and there are valid things on different sides, so that you can watch it and it just generates discussion and makes you think about things. Whereas, perhaps maybe one of the things the Chibnall era did was a bit more sort of, this is very much the right way, and let me ram it down your throat, and we're obviously right.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
But people have different opinions on that, and we can tear that apart when we get there.
You might watch it again and actually quite like it.
Well, this is the thing. We may discover there may be like a renaissance for the Chibnall era as we come through. We may go, actually, it's not as bad as we thought at the time.
Why you were all wrong about Orphan 95.
Orphan 95. Why Orphan 95 is actually the greatest episode of Doctor Who in history. I mean, might have a way to go on that, but I mean, so obviously we'll discuss this more next week, really, with the whole series. But I mean, there we are. That's season 10 wrapped up. So we've still got more Pertwee to come.
Indeed.
Yeah. But we will be doing our live review of season 10 at some point in the near future, the next week or so. Hopefully this is going to go out before that, right?
Yes, it will. So I guess we can say that the date and time. It'll be Tuesday, the 1st of April at 9 p.m. So,
and we're not pulling your leg. Yeah,
we promise
really is that day.
It will actually go ahead.
If you've got questions for the season 10 review that you'd like to put to us, you can pop them in the chat down below, or you can put them on our Discord server. There's a link for that in the description. And if you've been so blown away by this insightful commentary that you think, I wish there was more of this, and you'd like to watch the full-length reactions, you can always join our Patreon for more of that as well. And there's a link in the description there. So, yes, there we go, Thomas.
Good job, Paul. Thanks for this.
Season 10 complete.
We have done 10 seasons of Classic Doctor Who. Wow.
Only 16 to go, is it?
Something like that. Yeah.
When you say it like that, it sounds bad, but it's
shorter seasons though.
Shorter seasons, yeah.
But no, thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you on the live stream.
Take care. Bye bye.